Well, it is now day 2 of The Last of Us Part 2 being out. This game just released yesterday. Let's click play and hope that nothing crashes here and that we're a-okay. Yeah, my drivers and stuff, I know. Oh yeah, I have the launcher, but I'm gonna click play. I'll still leave the launcher up just in case, like, I get crashes and I have to, like, tinker around with settings and stuff. Part 2 is kind of tucked into part 1 now because I'm worried that if it's out here, I'm gonna like turn and bump it and like knock these games right into my trash can. And that's not really what I want. I'm gonna keep on trying to play with mouse and keyboard like I was before because now I'm actually kind of getting used to that. All right, we come in like it's a Marvel movie. I know. We're continuing with Grounded here. After the first stream, I have now found I'm pretty confident in saying that this is nowhere near as broken as part 1 on PC, but it's far from perfect, and it has its fair share of issues that I don't remember encountering when I was playing the PS5 version. So, yeah, there's there's that. Um, let's just see here. Was just checking Discord DMs there. I was just chatting with my cousin about the Switch 2 and the current political economic climate of the states and everything going on with Switch now. He just had a message saying that it's painfully accurate how close the US is to Helldivers sometimes these days. And I mean, he's not wrong.
For the save, by the way. Of course.
All right, session number 2. I got, oh, I guess I gotta go this way. I got some good sleep.
Really armed.
Did a bunch of new Fragapalooza website testing. Had some food. And I was like, all right, let's stream some more of this game.
Does that change anything for you? No.
How? Whoa. 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 As I was just saying, I don't think it's as broken as the PC version of Last of Us Part 1, but it is far from perfect. It is still not exactly in a state where they should have shipped this out, I don't think. But I think they kind of tried to get this out when they could here, considering it is currently April 4th, and oh my god. And episode 1 of season 2 comes out on the 13th. So they would probably want to have season 2 of the show coming out around the same time as part 2, the equivalent game on PC, which makes it accessible to a lot more players. So people watch the show and they're like, oh, I kind of want to play the game now. Or people play the game and they're like, oh, I kind of want to watch the show now, and just have like the whole multimedia thing together. Like, they did something very similar with the release of part 1 on PC. Part 1 on PC came out shortly after the show on the HBO thingamabob. I think that the game came out before the show was through. It was either before it was through or shortly after it ended. I forget if I had finished watching the show by the time I was playing part 1 around here, or if it was still like in progress. I don't remember, but I know that the release kind of coincided a little bit. The release was either later on in the series or like shortly after the series. This time this game released like just before season 2 of the series came out. And I really hope they change the order of events. Hello, DS Shock Trooper. Because I have a decent few issues with this story, but the biggest thing, and I think the thing that most people take issue with, is the order of events. Or at least like the order that it's told. Maybe not like the timeline in terms of like what actually happens, but like the timeline in which the order that it's told to the player is not great, and just leads to it being way more confusing than it should be.
They were looking for, so they let you go. Yeah, well, they did beat the shit out of us. The one guy, Jordan, kicked my face in. Yeah, but why do you think that they didn't?
I guess there's no point to check. If I have a bottle, there's no point changing it. Because it's the same thing, and if I have a brick, there's no point changing it because the brick is better if it works by part 1 rules, which I assume it probably does. They're pushing it back to like an indeterminate date, and Mortis was DMing me a thing earlier. Let me show this really quickly because it kind of cracked me up. Let's see here. If I scroll up, I think I scroll up too far. No, I didn't scroll up far enough. Hold on. That Mortis just DM'd me. So this is, I guess, what some people are saying on Twitter. Are you happy you voted for Trump? Yes, and I was buying a Switch too. Now that they made it a political thing, I'm out. Wait, who made this a political thing? Nintendo just did. Didn't you read the article? I don't know who any of these people are, but the most Twitter interaction ever. So, like, what? The States is currently changing the economy of, like, other countries to it, and by an extension, like, the world economy because of the influence, like, the States has, but mostly, like, the States' economy compared to other countries, like, very much affecting trade. And this means that other companies need to, like, change what they're doing if they don't want to operate at, like, a major loss. But now that companies are actually doing the thing that the Trump administration is kind of forcing them into a position to do, now they're the ones making it a political thing instead of just being like, yeah, we're going to keep everything as is and just, like, take the loss. Sucks for us. This is totally going to bring manufacturing to the States. Just wait. This is gonna really fix the state's economy by, like, creating more jobs in the States of making games that that would otherwise be made in Japan here. Oh, I can pick that up. So, you know. And what I've been saying since the Switch 2 Direct, apologies anyone trying to pay attention to, like, what they're saying here. I've been saying since the Switch 2 Direct that I think that the reason why there's such a price hike in the States, like, again, we're going to have to wait until we see what the prices are like in other regions. Like, we still don't know what the price of Switch 2 games is going to be here in my region of Canada. But the reason why there at least be a price hike in the States is because even before, like, the current tariffs went into place, which was, like, the day after the Direct, Trump has been saying for a long, long time, hey, we're putting major tariffs in all these places. And now places that have a population of only penguins are even getting tariffed. But not Russia. Russia's not getting tariffed. I don't think North Korea either. I don't recall. I need to, like, relook at the list, but I don't think Russia's getting tariffed. But, you know, if they're not getting tariffed because they're not a key, like, trade partner, then why are you tariffing, like, random islands with only penguins and stuff? Hello, I've read the game keycard page on the Nintendo website. I hate them even more now. Why? What? This was a conversation that we had last stream. I don't understand. Like, it is not saying that all the cards are like that. It says, like, game key cards are different from regular game cards, aka they are not regular game cards. Like, we really need to take it on a case-by-case basis for, like, companies that actually use that. Like, for example, Fallout 76 was the example that I've used before, where Fallout 76, if you got a disc of that, there was nothing on the disc. It was just a key, data of a key that let you download Fallout 76 on your Xbox or your PlayStation. Is that because of Microsoft and Sony's greed? No, that's because of Bethesda's greed. So when it comes to situations like game key cards, we need to take it on a case-by-case basis and put blame of greed on those that are actually using the systems, not those that are making the systems available. Because those kinds of systems are already available on other consoles like PlayStation and Xbox, like we've seen with Fallout 76 and probably other games I'm not aware of, but I know for sure was a case with Fallout 76. I'm going to craft a Molotov, why not? And there were already games on the Switch that wanted to kind of take that approach. Some examples of those would be the Metal Gear Master Collection put out by Konami, which included all of the 2D Metal Gear games and Metal Gear Solid 1 to 3. But the only thing actually included on the cartridge was the 2D Metal Gear games. Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 you had to download, or look at Ubisoft with the Assassin's Creed Rebel Collection. That cartridge only actually had Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It did not include Assassin's Creed Rogue. That was a separate download. Or freaking Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. All of the post-game is locked to the day one patch. So there's clearly already companies that are interested in diminishing their own costs in manufacturing by putting more of the burden on the consumer to provide storage themselves, even when you think that you're buying, or even when you think you're buying physical. So in those cases, we should be blaming, like, the companies that are responsible for that, like Konami, like Ubisoft, like Game Freak / the Pokemon Company / Nintendo in the case of, like, BDSP. Like, absolutely blame them for their greed in that case. But, like, the ones that made that possible with their platform, not enforcing, like, hey, you need to have all the data on your cartridge on the get-go, are not the ones to blame. And now we're just seeing it taking, like, a bit of a step further where it's like, yep, none of the game data has to be on the cartridges. It is going to be more of an outlet for these greedy companies. But we've already seen greedy companies do stuff like this, like with Fallout 76. But yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to insert them in, like, a different console anymore. Like, it does really suck for game preservation, which is why I think if I see a case that says, like, this is just a game key card, I'm not buying that game. I'm not interested. Like, I am glad that they have a page specifying this is what game key card cases look like, because then I know to avoid them and not buy them, because I have no interest in that. So yeah, that's basically my signifier of like, don't buy this product if it says that. I presume I need to move this here. Just notice that Nintendo's still being salty about Power World. They got more patents now, really? I'm pulling it off the curb. My goodness. Anyway, when it comes to like the whole stuff with like Nintendo prices, like going back to that, the Nintendo Switch 2 is the very first console that is being released for the first time in a Trump's second term world, when he's threatening all these tariffs and has just implemented them. So I think that it'll be interesting to see what the price in other regions looks like, because in Japan, the prices look like they're the same. You translate 8,980 yen into USD, which, you know, is the cost of a game in Japan for like Mario Kart World is 8,980 yen or whatever it was. Like, my memory is telling me that's what it was, but I remember putting it through like the Google currency translator. It translates to $60.58 USD. So the prices in Japan are still the same, but the US is seeing a $20 price hike. And I can't help but find that that's too much to be a coincidence, when game manufacturers usually try to have, not a frame of reference, a what is the word here? It's on the tip of my tongue. They usually try to relatively equalize them across different currencies. Like, of course, they'll round it to, like, the nearest 10 or something like that in other currencies. So, I mean, like, some regions it'll be, like, maybe $5 to $10 more expensive or cheaper when you actually account for, like, currency conversion, just because they want to round it to be, like, a nice ending with 10 kind of even number. But they usually try to have the prices be relatively the same across countries. But now in a world with, like, Trump's second term and him being like, yep, all these tariffs are going into place, and like, there's gonna be all this extra cost on the producer and stuff, and all of a sudden it gets way more expensive in the States. That's not just Nintendo being greedy, that's them wanting to, like, maintain the... Oh my god, I didn't even see you there. That's just them wanting to, like, play it safe, I would presume here. Where it's like, even before, like, the current tariffs that are in place went into place, because they went into place, like, the day after the Direct or whatever it was there, like, immediately after. It still makes sense to be playing it safe, where they know that these are coming. Let's make a price point where that gives us a little bit of wiggle room here. Because you can't just go and, like, change the prices of your already established products. If they went to, like, Switch 1 games and were like, yeah, these were $60, but expect to be paying $80 for the things you've already been paying $60 for, there would be a lot more of an uproar. But when you're starting a new console, that is very much like a reset, the beginning of a new era, and now you have the leeway to decide what is the new baseline. So I feel like they decided on a new baseline based on, like, the idea of playing it safe to account for the fact that these tariffs are coming into place. And it sounds like they're probably breathing a sigh of relief that they did that when, like, the day after these massive tariffs went into place. So, yeah, I think the prices of other regions will be interesting to see. Are they going to base the price of other regions around, like, the Japan price? Or are they going to base the price of other regions around the frame of reference that is the US price? Is the whole rest of the world going to feel the repercussions of the new US price, even though there isn't, like, tariffs on coming from these other countries, just because they want to keep it relative to the States, and that's going to be the new norm. And then, of course, they would make a lot more revenue in other countries compared to the States, because they're not getting, like, tariff there, but they're charging the same amount. So it'll be very interesting to see. But the amount of people that are blaming Nintendo at this point, like, I'm all for blaming Nintendo for their greed. Like, if Nintendo is doing something incredibly greedy, you can bet I'm the first person on that bandwagon. I've criticized Nintendo to no end. I was mentioning during, like, a previous stream, there would be, like, no chance of ever, like, working with Nintendo or getting review copies. Like, I'm too honest. I think Nintendo would hate me. It's probably what would happen. Where are these dudes here, huh? So, like, I'm all for blaming their greedy practices, and I did with, like, the Direct, when it comes to things like their subscription services, not truly being able to own those games. You have to rent the entire library with a subscription, and just these anti-consumer practices that I just genuinely really despise. But the whole increased prices, right as you have an oligarch that is in the middle of increasing prices, like, is Nintendo really the main ones to blame on this front? You know? So I feel like, hey, look, the grab button worked! Time to die. Okay. But yeah, that's the main reason I hate them. Game key cards suck for preservation. Weird how people despawn after you die. Yep, I agree. They absolutely do suck for preservation. While holding S, press space to do a quick turn. Wait. So while I'm holding back, I can press the... Ooh, that's cool. And that's kind of convenient buttons, because if you're hitting S, like, you're going backwards, and spacebar is like the parkour / jump or do whatever button. Ooh, I kind of like that. That's nice. Wasn't the thing that a Japanese only Switch 2 cost $339 or something? For a Japanese only one. So in Japan, something that Japan is getting that the other regions aren't getting is a console that is like only their language rather than a multi-language version that could play games from other regions. So if you get a Japan only Switch or a Japanese only Switch, it's like $130 USD cheaper or something like that, like a massive difference. But if you get a like multi-language Switch 2 from Japan, it's about the same price as in USD as in the US, if I recall when I translated that over. But yeah, both are greed and their obnoxious pettiness. Yeah, agreed. Like, those are absolutely things to criticize a Nintendo for. Like, my goodness, they are absolute masters in those two fields. No doubt. Like, there should be a Hall of Fame for that kind of thing where they're like one of the top dogs. What should totally be the case. And yeah.
Let's check it out.
Oh. I really like the guards in Last of Us games. I was saying that last stream. Grab does not work! You know what? I'm actually gonna try here. Like, is it just a thing where you could only grab if it's, like, behind them? Because it seems like grab isn't working when they're facing towards me. So maybe it's not, like, a thing with the game not working, but rather just, like, it working a little bit differently here. Because I'm pretty sure in part 1, you could grab guys from the front. But maybe in this, it's only from the back. So I'm actually gonna plug in my PlayStation controller. Is it not? There we go. It's going to automatically change the controls over. If I remember how to play this with these controls. And then... Oh, that's run. Okay, it's been a hot second here. Is the Switch 2 even produced in Japan? Because that's the only reason why I could think that it wouldn't be the same price. It is... I don't believe that they're produced in Japan. But when there's tariffs on literally every other country, except for Russia, North Korea... I think there is tariffs on China, but like, you know, 99% of countries in the world, including ones that are literally only inhabited by penguins and don't even have any human population. So when the whole world is getting tariffed, it doesn't matter where it's getting produced. It's going to raise the production costs unless it's getting produced in like Russia, which it would not be. I mean, you know, I'll eat my words if it turns out for some ungodly reason they're produced in Russia, but like, I would imagine that they're probably produced in, probably like China or somewhere, I would imagine. And it's not like Japan would have tariffs on China, so it wouldn't make sense for it to, well, I guess in terms of it being the same price, I forget what the grab button here is. I think it's, dang it. Dang it. I guess you're not the only person that asked about Switch 2. Yep, that is indeed Fabakaba. So it seems like the console price, they're kind of equalizing across regions with like Japan and the US, where that is about the same, interestingly enough. So they have decided like this is the console price. And it is possible that like, despite the increase in price compared to the Switch 1, they might not be making all that much profit off of it because game manufacturers usually don't make that much profit off of consoles, if at all. There's a lot of game manufacturers that'll actually put out their consoles at a loss because they make back that loss and make their main revenue off of the sale of games. So I guess it would make sense that like the Switch 2 price itself would cost about like the same across regions. And like, it is possible that with the tariffs, they might be operating at a loss in the US. Like, I don't know how much it costs to like manufacture and ship out Switch 2 consoles. Not entirely sure about that. Whoa, there's a dude there. So I guess it would make sense that like the console itself will be the same. Just like, maybe it's a little bit for profit in Japan, but it's at like a loss in the US or something like that, is maybe what's going on. I don't know. But games are like the way that they actually generate their revenue. That's how they really make money, is not off the console sales. Game manufacturers usually want to keep the sales of their console cheap. Is there a different grab button? I need to remember my controls for like DualSense and stuff here. But yeah, Europe isn't, though we have tax included. Yeah, same here in Canada. Um, so yeah, if the games are the main revenue generator, it makes sense that those cost more in the US to account for like the additional loss that they're taking with tariffs, but you know, remain the same in Japan because like it wouldn't be tariff there. Unless like I just don't know enough about the economic climate of the world and it turns out Japan is tariffing like the import of physical goods to the same extent of like the States to wherever the heck Switch games are being manufactured. Again, probably China or something like that. Decided to just get Legends EA for Switch 1 and just emulate it because that's legal. Yeah, fair enough. That is definitely fair enough there. But I feel like that's probably the reason for like the game price increase, but like the console price staying the same. Is like, let's make it more expensive in the US to account for like tariffs, which again, they're probably breathing a sigh of relief now that the current tariffs went into place like the day after the direct. Yeah, that shake flashlight, shake the controller. Interact / grab. Okay. Up in action while aiming. So if I want to grab, it's the triangle button because it doesn't seem like UI comes up that says grab like it did in the first game. I'm sure it does if I'm playing on like a normal difficulty, but you know, I was playing on ground with the first game as well. Yeah, so yeah, I don't have listen mode, so I can't exactly listen hold. So let's try triangle. I'm gonna restart checkpoint. Let's try triangle to like grab a guy. That's what I think I'm going to do. Yeah, China and Vietnam. Okay, yeah, Vietnam was the other big one. Yeah, that sounds familiar. And then X was like going up. Circle was crouched down. The DualSense controls are coming back to me. Again, I really like guards in The Last of Us. So if I mash triangle here as he comes around the corner. Triangle, triangle, triangle. Triangle, triangle, triangle. I was trying to open my menu and just like restart checkpoint. But yeah. Is it everywhere? Because like my region, it's not posted yet. I live in Canada. Canadian prices aren't posted yet. Australian prices aren't posted yet. I saw mention in like some articles about like it might be the same in Europe, but I didn't see anything that actually linked to like the site itself. I've seen a lot of articles posting like, oh, it's gonna cost this in Canada, but that's just like speculation based off of translating prices from the US. So is it for sure that in Europe? Dang it! Okay, so the ones in Europe are interesting. So maybe they are basing like the worldwide prices off of like the US frame of reference. Where it's like most people when they're comparing prices are probably going to be comparing to the US prices. So let's just turn that into our frame of reference. Is I guess what they figured. Which kind of sucks for the rest of the world. And I'm still going to blame the dang it. I'm still going to blame the US tariffs for that. Because, you know, those are coming into place. They suddenly make the next console games like drastically more expensive. And now I guess in terms of like video game consumption, it would make sense that the States would be the frame of reference for that. But like, why do the rest of us have to eat that? Dang. How about with PS5 Pro 2? Where in what way? Just it being more expensive compared to like Japan or something? Solid Bravely Default remake for, I would call it more of a remaster than a remake. I don't think that I would call that a remake. For $700 and 800 pounds. Just like it being around the same price, or I guess even more expensive in Europe there. Because, I mean, pounds are relatively the same as USD, right? I know it's not as drastic of a difference as like CAD and USD, right? I'm getting text. Is it important? Nope. Maybe I just need to grab from behind. Something like that. Over here! Dang it, it's so friggin' hard. Dina keeps shoving me. 100 pounds is like $870 USD. Okay, so the pound is worth more, and they're selling it for even more in Europe. Is there, like, other stuff going on with, like, the economic climate of Europe that I wasn't aware of? For it to be, like, a lot more expensive there? A lot more expensive to get stuff there? Is there other stuff in play? So maybe it makes sense that Europe would be more expensive in terms of games then as well, if that's, like, the general trend that, like, other things are more expensive there, too. I'll be really interested to see what the prices are like for Switch 2 games in Canada. I'll be very intrigued to see when they post them. If it's going to be the same, like $80 Canadian. Or, dang it, if it's going to match, like, the US slash Europe kind of prices. 'Cause I think then that the only prices that we know currently are like the US, Japan, and Europe. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. And interesting that they haven't revealed the prices of games in these other regions yet. So we shall see if those regions are getting some special treatment, per se. Second General is more expensive in Europe than the US, though, I'm pretty sure. Okay, interesting. Moving this way. So yeah, we shall see. We're gonna have to give it some time and, like, more of these prices to come out to be able to, like, truly compare. And see what's going on here. Okay, so I can probably just grab, like, from behind then or something. I can probably just do like that. And then I press this, and then that guy dies. Is what I do here. I am one-shottable, and because, like, I didn't use a medkit before, thinking, like, what if this is the end of this segment? And then we get a loading zone, and then, you know, by the next time the next segment happens, I'm fully healed anyway. But now that I know that's not the case, and there is another segment, and I'm currently one-shottable, this is probably a pretty fair game part to consider using a health kit. Because one hit, I die. So, while I stand by my reasoning that I shouldn't have used a health kit before, because it's like, there's just one person left. What's the point in using a health kit? Like, what if I'm pretty home free from here? But now I see I'm not home free from here. So, a health kit might be justified. I'll still keep on trying without because I'm just greedy like that. But we'll see here. I don't know, because the US doesn't include taxes on listed prices for some reason. Yeah, Canada doesn't either. Canada, it's calculated at checkout. Which I feel like it should be included, like, on the listed price instead of just being like, oh, surprise! Like, here in Alberta, we have a 5% sales tax. And I think in some parts of Eastern Canada, there's also, like, a service tax. But here in Alberta, the sales tax is 5%. So if I'm paying $79.99 for a video game, like a Switch game, what I'm actually paying is, like, $83.99. I'm actually paying $84 for the game that was listed as $79.99. That's the way that works here in Alberta.
On our right.
Oh, what? Uh-oh. Oh, I thought he would keep on coming in here. I was trying to, like, lead my shot, but he, like, stopped walking. His spidey senses went off and told him to stop. Otherwise, if he kept on going, I think that probably would have been perfect aim, right? All right, I don't think I need to play with DualSense. I'm actually going to keep on playing with mouse and keyboard. I'm starting to get accustomed to it. Like, I was just playing it to see if it was broken playing with mouse and keyboard, but, like, now it's actually kind of the way I want to play. Yeah, it absolutely should be included in the price. I completely agree. I think that it is incredibly stupid that it's not. But they do that to make it look like things are cheaper, and then all of a sudden it's like, surprise, it's not!
Right there!
This is not really the way I wanted this to go, but, like, you know. Oh, dang it. Should I just use a health kit? Should I stop being so greedy trying to preserve the darn things? Because I am one-shottable. And I think this isn't even the end of this segment. I think that, like, there's more stuff after this. So, screw it. Just, how do I use this again? Oh, yeah, with the, and then craft health kit. Whoops, what's the button again? R? Like that. Like my reload button. Or the forward button on my mouse. There, look, less blur on the screen. I'm feeling a little bit better. Alright. Alright. Or, what? For the button to use it? Because that is not the button to use it.
He was the worst. You're nuts.
What? What?
You know how many times I got food poisoning? Why do you think I took that fishing?
Okay. I might not even need to fight them, but I kind of play these games like Fire Emblem games. But yeah. I didn't intend to type 4. Not intending to give me misinformation. You guys are going to split up.
What the fuck is this girl? Somewhere in this area.
Move, 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 move.
Scar. She was riding a horse. Not a scar. Well, scars will probably kill her.
I'm worried about the guy in that room seeing once I grab this guy. I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm taking a gamble.
Hey.
What? I can still grab him!
Look, it's them! Here!
Okay, well, I can take 2 shots without dying. How is he not dead? Also, taking 2 shots there. I don't really want to do that. There's even a 4 button on a DualSense. I'm playing with mouse and keyboard right now. I was just trying out the controller to see if I was getting like some sort of keyboard issue. This is what I was doing. Dang it, wrong button. Sure, I'll use the thing. Because I'm playing the PC version here to see if it's broken. I do literally have the 2 PlayStation games like right here. But I'm playing the PC version to see if it's broken. Because part 1 on PC was probably one of the most broken video games I think I've ever played. Like the good game, terrible PC version. Like unbelievably so. So I'm playing the PC version that just released yesterday of this game to see firsthand if it's similarly broken.
I'm getting hungry.
What's going on here? Are we paying roughly $95 for a single Switch 2 game? No thank you, I choose to have money. Yeah, that's fair there. Pro tip, hold the Alt key while pressing F4 and you win automatically. If this game starts breaking a lot, I'll definitely consider it. Look, I grabbed that guy from the front. Why does it work sometimes and other times not? Well, this corpse is gonna be right in a place that other people can see. Uh-oh. Again, I really like the guards in The Last of Us games. It really makes it feel like they're actually smart and thinking and planning stuff out. Kind of reminds me of the systems in Fear. I've never even played Fear, but I've like done bits on video essays on it. So like I know how the systems work in Fear. Crap. No, you don't. Run. But hey, I took down 2 in stealth. I'm gonna go up here. I said I'm gonna go up here. So far, but like... it's holding up well right now. I was having some issues of like textures bugging out earlier. Just earlier this stream. Okay. Stab. Oh! That's my pipe now! Shut.
I don't think so.
Alright, well, I didn't even take any hits that time, but I do have full health now and stuff.